disclaimer, I have a new camera, well actually it's my phone, a new phone, which I've used to record this entire video, and only when putting it into the system did I realise that half the flipping clips have been done in portrait mode. You'll still watch the video anyway and you'll still enjoy it. Enjoy! Okay everyone, it's finally time for the Gameboy repair. I bought this one on eBay and it said that it did work, it did power up, everything works, but that there was lines on the screen. Now I haven't put batteries to this yet. As you can see, it has been beaten around somewhat, and I suppose being 30 years old you would expect that. There's a very slight amount of corrosion in here. This doesn't look like corrosion, this looks like dirt. But let's put in some batteries first of all and see if we get any life at all from this before moving on. Red light. Yeah, can you see the lines? So we do have lines. It's okay. I have no gain to put in here, so that's all as far as we can get at this point. So turn this off. Take these bad boys out here. And the next step is to open it up and see what it's like on the inside. Right, this is little tri-star screw. Last one. Okay, before I do that, I'm just going to see if I can tip this last screw out. Screws here are not wanting to come out at all. I got them now. Set that there. Okay, let's clear this down a bit. Okay, now if you've ever taken one of these apart or watched them online, there's a little cable here which connects to the screen. You just need to be really careful with that. So I'm just going to flip it over. And as you can see, there's the cable there. Just need to pull down on that a little bit. Just gently, gently. That's it. So that's the two halves as it currently stands. And actually, I'm really surprised how clean this is on the inside. Now, if we turn this over to find out which one of them was the dirty screw, it was actually this one here and here, and that's pretty clean. So that just looks like something had at some point got down in. So let's continue disassembling. As we can see now, we have a few more screws to take off here, and to make my job easier I'm going to get a little screw holder to hold all these screws so that they don't start running around the table. So let me just grab that and then I'll be straight back. Here's my little screw holders. Set that there. So obviously these four was for the back. So I'll set that in there. Oh. Let's put them all in the right place. So I like to keep things organised, and by keeping things organised I know where screws go back in. So that was the back, and then after the back was the battery at the back, and now this will be the, these are now ordinary Phillips screws. Let's just change this over. So let's take this apart. In keeping with my organisation, that goes there as the front motherboard screws. Okay, I think that is them all. So let's take this out, not pull on the cable. This might need a wee bit of a... Oh, there's little brackets here. Oh, so to push the brackets back, I'm just holding on to the board. It should just pop back and allow you to remove this. There we go. She is loose. Let's turn it over here very carefully. Have a look at this. That's quite clean considering. Quite clean. And what I could do is run a bit of alcohol over the contacts and so forth here. But what I'm also looking at this point is all of these capacitors, resistors and everything on the board. Make sure none of them are bulging or look damaged in any way. And everything looks surprisingly very, very, very good and very, very clean. So that's fantastic. We know the LED works, everything's fine there. Never tested that earlier, but I'm sure, hopefully, doesn't appear to be any damage. This screen is missing its pixels, so one of the things we're going to be doing is running the... We'll take this off first and we run the solder iron along there to hopefully reconnect those. Rubber just needs a bit of a clean. Yeah, all just needs a bit of a clean. It's all a bit dirty. Now, these buttons are, I can't see, I don't know if you can see in the video, are a little bit scuffed. No amount of cleaning can bring that up, but they're there. And same with these buttons are scuffed. It looks like they've been scraped along the ground or something abrasive at some point. So set them to one side. Now, let's take these screws out first. See how this guy comes up, and then that's obviously the back. So we know those screws go on the backboard. I just see the two there, apart from down here. Let's take those out. A bit of pressure to start with. Get those screws moving. This guy is actually just sitting here so he can come right out. Again, let's have a quick look at the inside of here. No bulging of the capacitors. Everything looks, again, remarkably clean. No damage as such that I could see. Needs a bit of a clean here. Quite a lot of dirt in around here, but we can do all that very shortly. Very minimal corrosion to the battery area there as well. So we'll set this down. Let's take this back panel off. That means we can take the button and all out too. That should just slide off actually. There we are. And then we can actually get this guy into some hot soapy water and put that in there and give it a good scrub. See how well we can bring it up, and that's before moving on to the next stage, and give it a wee bit of peroxide treatment. Now the weather here is badly overcast, so So finding a day with enough sun to be able to leave this out for a good 4 hours minimum can be a bit tricky. This should just come right off. So here when I left with the plastic shell, all the parts are removed apart from these contacts. I'm going to do that very shortly. I'll hit the dirt, if you can see, on the inside here. That there can come off. That is a little, that can come right out, I believe. Let's just give this a quick lift up here. Again, the light is bad here today. There we are. Let's get that up and at him. Okay. Now these guys should just push out from the back here. Like so. There's the other one. Just a matter of pushing the little feet past the little guide hole, and there it goes. So you can see there's not much corrosion, or any corrosion at all actually on those. So next step, let's give this shell a good scrub. The cleaning part is actually one of the funnest pieces of this whole restoration. Just going to set all the pieces in some hot water, some bit of soap, throw everything in. Well, no electronics. And a toothbrush. Now you don't want to be using too much abrasiveness. At this stage, you're just getting off all the dirt and gum that's been gathering there for 30 years. The silicone is actually in amazing condition as well. So that's cleaned up really well there. Now I'm going to replace these buttons anyway with new ones that I've got, I think, if I can't get rid of the scuffing. Try to keep everything as original as possible, but if they're scuffed, I will replace them. Okay, now interestingly, I'm assuming someone with the initials A on this thought they would etch that in there with permanent marker, it looks like. Very unlikely I'm doing any damage to the surface here no matter how hard I rub. That has come up really well. Just going to let this steep for a while. And again, I mean, you can see the water has dirtied a little, muddied a little, but it is not anywhere near as bad as what I have seen some look like online. So that's steep for a while. I'm going to then bring it out, let it dry naturally, and then I'm going to use some alcohol to remove the old glue residue, and then I'm at two minds whether to remove this or not. I do like anything on retro devices that sort of give some history to the device or to the game as to where it came from, and someone at some point has put that on. I'm very tempted to leave it on, but anyway, we'll see when it dries out how it looks, and we'll take it from there. Now this is dried up quite well, so just popping the gloves on here. Next thing I want to do is take the glue residue off. I'm going to use some Q-tips for that and dip it into some alcohol here. See if I can just break down the residue on here and get rid of this. I can confirm that this stuff does work, folks. Let's just take that right off. And you've seen how easy that was. Take that first bit right off. So let's just keep moving on here. Put some on, that'll do its work. Let's seep down in. And let's just rub right off without damaging the case. Let's try here first for that. See how easy that was, look. Look at that. No need to scrape or damage anything, look at that. Absolutely amazing. That's what it says in the tin. Bit in the corner is being a bit harder, so let's just soak it a little bit more. Let's turn it around, give this a go. Right. That might need to soak a little longer, but it's got rid of most of it. There we are. Not going to get any better than that. And the next bit, or the screen rather, just sits on top of that. And I'm very happy with how easy that cleaned up. Let's see if I could give this a wee bit of a clean up with a wee bit of rubbing alcohol. Don't need to flood the whole board here with this, just take away any grease. Any surface dirt, dust, just get rid of it. Try not to get these into the connectors. This is where the Bivert mod will be placed later on. Which just helps with the contrast. Let's just give all of this a little bit of a wipe. Let's just give this piece a wee quick rub around all the contacts for buttons. The speaker and all needs to be quick. Just scrape a lot out, don't need that much. Let's try some of that out. There we go. As I said, this was really clean. Don't put it on the screen. Let's give that a quick wipe over. Be very careful if you are cleaning this. It is a speaker. It's a very small, thin plastic membrane. And would crack very easy, I would say, after 30 years. There. That is the dirt off that. Can you see the dirt that's coming off with the rubbing alcohol? It is taking dirt off. And that's what you want. Last little piece. Just rub it around here, get rid of some of this dust. Although, it really isn't good like. Nearly finished. A wee bit of dirt there I noticed earlier. Let's just lean a little harder, get rid of that. Bit of sticky residue from somewhere. There we go. We'll sort the screen later, and we'll also have a look at the lines on there. We'll use a soldering iron and we'll reconnect the lines, and all that's next. So I started the video there and started applying this peroxide cream, and for some reason the video just decided to stop. I'm glad I noticed that it stopped, so you can catch the rest of the video. As I was saying, it's in this container to sit outside in the sun because I don't want animals and so on getting access to this peroxide and ingesting it. The idea is to get it on, get a good cover all over it, inside and all, doesn't matter. Get it totally coated. A bit more. I'm hoping there's at least 4 hours of sunlight here left today to leave the sun to do its job. Let's make sure. This seems to be the most yellow. Turn that like that. Turn that like that. Okay, I'm going to close the lid. I'm going to set this outside, and I'm going to see if we have at least those 4 hours for this to do its thing. Just come outside and it's getting a bit overcast, but let's just see if we can get a few hours out of the sun today. Check this out later. Okay, after setting outside in the sun with the retro rating, as we all kind of know it as, this has been the result. If I stand back, you can see a significant improvement. That has really come up really well, as close to the original colour as we can get. So as you see, the A is still here. I'm happy with to leave that on, that's fine. So next step is to place the battery terminals back in. Now, what I didn't show was I steeped these in a distilled vinegar to remove the small amount of corrosion on one of them. Lightly sand it back. That's lovely and smooth and clean now, and that should keep that at bay. So these just go straight back in, negative to negative. Push that in a minute, and that one is negative. It clips in nicely. It's just trying to be really awkward, this guy. Try him down there. Maybe that's where he was originally. Well, he seems to go in there easier, so I'm just going to pull out the wee. No. wee guy here. Just pull him out a bit. Don't. Might be it. Yep. Would help if I was using the right one under. This one, he's the same problem there. Push him out. So there we go. Should be good. Okay, that should have been easier than that, but anyway, that's that done. Let's go ahead and get these guys back into their homes. Don't over tighten these, just get it in. That's in. Now, what I want to do is plug in the game, turn the system on, and fix the lines on the screen. So that's what we'll do next. Help put it around the right way. There we are. So I'm not screwing anything down at this point, I'm just going to keep all that there. I need to push this back in gently. Just be careful not to damage the ribbon or any other element. Just take your time and you'll just feel it pop in. It does not go in all the way, so don't be trying to push this in any further. That's pretty much as far as it goes. I'm going to need a power switch for this. Maybe I can just reach it with my nails. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So let's turn this off again. So we haven't damaged anything yet. Now, my partner knows me very well. I came home the other day and this was sitting on the table for me. And obviously knowing I was restoring this and I don't have any games yet for the Game Boy, But let's put this in. Let's make sure, because I haven't screwed anything down here. There we are. So now we can see the damaged lines. Now, that does look like a bigger issue than just the lines. But anyway, let's proceed and we can investigate that later. Very good brand of tweezers. What we need to do, just take this off here. Oh, might be easier actually to first of all lift it a little bit with this blade. Yeah. Okay. So just take that off, put it to one side. You'll also see a little strip of, looks like adhesive. We will also take that away. Just be careful not to perforate or damage this. So if I can just lift that up enough to get my tweezers on, pull that right off slowly, but right up, like so. That to one side. Health and safety. That done. Now, the idea being here, when I apply heat from the solder, it will reflow the solder and reconnect the line. So let's just do that first. And you just want to keep going in sweeping motions. And sometimes you can remove the hot iron, let the solder rest. Let's move it back in, try again. This is a bit of trial and error. Now, I'm just going to actually go over the whole lot, even though the lines aren't showing a problem, because I want to reflow all of it. Let's just reflow the entire thing. Get all that old 30-year-old solder, let's get it all heated up. Let's get it all reflown. Little piece there I wish I hadn't bothered with. Let's see if it's it now. That's it now. Okay. So I have prepared the issue of the lines, missing lines. That's fixed. We can see quite clearly we're not seeing a full screen here, and I have a funny suspicion that's the game, not the console. But we'll see. We'll come back to that. But for now, we have corrected the missing lines, and on to the next step. So the last thing we done was connect everything together here, put in my Star Trek game, turned it on. The lines had been fault had been fixed, but it seemed to be garbled on the screen, and I thought perhaps maybe it was dust either in the connector of the back of the board on the Game Boy itself, or perhaps even the pins on the back of the game. So what I did was, I literally forgot to record, so I'll have to explain to you. I just took one of these and used a bit of the alcohol isopropyl and run a drop of it along the connectors on the back of the board where the Game Boy slots into. I then also took out the Game Boy and got a fresh one and jammed that right inside there, right along all the pins. So you can take this apart, but I didn't because this was the perfect size. I fit it right in, cleaned all that. It did come out black, and I have tested. So let's see the result. I'll try again. And as you can see, everything works. There's no lines or anything on the screen. I adjust the contrast here. That's the volume. Let's adjust the contrast. There we go. So we can see that works. The contrast adjustment is working. Now, the speaker was never fantastic on a Game Boy, but that does sound rather hissy. To me anyway. It's just a wee bit of hiss. So, doesn't appear to be anything wrong with it. It's maybe just age, or maybe that is the quality of it. But anyway, it is working. And when I did test this earlier before bringing it over to the screen here, one of these lines had reappeared. But it appears just leaving it for those few hours and then coming back, it has seemingly resolved itself. So the next step is to disconnect. I'll turn this off now. Disconnect. Next step is to work on the screen. I need to get in behind this, take away the layers in behind the actual screen itself, so I can then attach the new backlight. Now the one I'm going to connect first of all is a blue backlight, and then I'm going to connect the Bivert mod, which helps with the contrast. Now, I have a white backlight coming. Apparently it's superior to the blue coloured one. So rather than wait for this white one to arrive at some point next week, I'm going to go ahead with the blue one for now and go ahead with the Bivert mod, contrast and everything else, see how that looks, and then when the white one comes I'll reopen this and I'll go ahead then and put in the white one. That way then you get to see the difference between the two and you can make your own judgments on what you prefer.